Hi everyone, I'm ready to conclude the 3 projects. Here I've got my monogram. I've decided to use the Sodachrome effect to produce it, not to eliminate any of the layers. I like it. And below that, I have my alien glow bullet. And now I'm finally ready to do a screenshot, and I thought for the screenshot, what I would do is capture the picture of my first 2 projects. So I'm going to create a screenshot of these first 2 project images. And once again, I go back to File, and from there, Create, and I go down to Screenshot. Now, once I click on Screenshot, it's going to come up and give me 2 options. I can click on a window I'd like to save, or I can save the whole screen. In this case, I want multiple windows, so I want the whole screen. And let me get this out of the way and then hit grab. And here we are in a new image manipulation window in GIMP, which has a picture of my previous image manipulation windows in GIMP. This is a fully modifiable image here that I can then show other people to show what I've been doing on the GIMP. Now notice that it has some excess space here. What you'll quite often want to do is you will want to crop a screenshot or any other image. So we're going to look at cropping right now. And the primary reason to look at cropping is so that we can use the third window over here, the toolbox. For the first time, we're going to use a tool, and it's the crop tool. The way that you get to it is it looks like this little X-Acto knife here. And notice when you roll over the tools in the toolbox that a little assist helps pop up to show you what the tool does. So let's select that tool and then go over to the image manipulation program where we want to crop. And notice we get this little crossbar here with the crop tool next to it. So I'm going to place it about here, and I'm going to click and hold the mouse down and stretch the crop area over the area of my image that I'd like to keep. And then I'm going to release the mouse. And there it's selected that area. To complete the crop, you just click anywhere within the crop area. And now we've cropped our screen capture down to a reasonable size. Now the other thing that you can do is notice that it's telling you how large this image is. It is 1251 by 821. Well, imagine that we wanted a smaller image. The other thing that you quite often want to do is resize. And to do that, you go to the image menu. We're going to go down to Scale Image. And here we can change the scale. Now notice because these are linked and I can break the chain if I want, it will retain the aspect ratio between width and height. So if I want to go to let's say a width of maybe more like 500, and then I go down and I click in height, notice it automatically adjusts the height to be proportionally the same modification I made to the width. Okay, and here I can also change the DPI. If I want to come from 72 DPI, which is good for the screen, to 300 DPI, which is better for print, I can change that here as well under Scale Image. So let's go ahead and we'll scale. And notice our image just got considerably smaller. Now the final thing that I want to talk with you about is how to use the images that you've been creating and how to save your work. Now it's actually 2 separate processes, which is interesting. If I go to File, I can say Save or Save As. Save As is usually better the first time because notice up here at the top what it's titled your image as is Untitled 22.0, not a very good name. So say Save As the first time, File, Save As, and then pick the directory that you like. I like to put images and pictures, and then I make separate directories to store each project. Let's put this directly into pictures, and then you come up here and you give it a name. We're going to call this testing. Notice that it has a file extension of XCF. This is the native GIMP format. If we save this file and reload it, it will have retained all the layers, all the information, the font colors, everything that we configured in the GIMP. However, other programs can't use this. I can't display an XCF file on the web. I can't include it into a video. So this is saving your work for opening it again in the future. The next thing that you want to do to be able to use your work is do a file export. This is where you get to pick, by default it's going to try and export it as a PNG, the graphic file format that you want to save your work in. The two most popular are a PNG and JPEG, JPG. Pick either one of those as extensions and the GIMP will understand what you're trying to do and ask you for more information. So here I'm exporting to the pictures directory, testing.jpg, which means it's a JPEG, and I click export, and it asks me for the quality and so on, and I say export. And there, it's just exported my image. Now I have a native GIMP XCF file that I can load in the future if I want to modify this project. And I have a JPEG file version that I exported that I can use on the web or post to Facebook or Twitter or any other use that I want to put the image to. So you understand those two steps. Save as XCF, export as PNG or JPEG to use it. And you get to both of those functions here under File. Once you save the first time and you've done a save as to name it and pick the directory, notice up here it tells me that it's now testing XCF, so it has a name. So now I can just go ahead and say save as I make modifications and it'll just keep replacing the name I chose. So you only have to do save as the first time. Notice also that exporting to, it knows the last thing I exported to, so it says, do you want to export there again? So you only have to export as the first time to name what kind of file you want to export, and then you can use export as up here as a fast way of exporting. And that's saving and exporting. You have now, if you do that with each of these images, saved either a JPEG or a PNG of each of your images that you can use on the web or you can upload to Skillshare to complete the project. And I'll see you in the next lesson where we will wrap up this class.